minute. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for stay with us today. We have the Protector Guard Core Plan training with our friend George Baste. George, everybody is waiting
Waiting,
to
waiting and
know,
eager. Uh-huh.
yeah, to hear about the good news of this plan. So, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. As Carmen said, my name is Jorge Baste. For those of you that may not know me, I am the sales director for the Hispanic market for United Health One. And today we are going to be covering Health Protector Guard, but notice it says Enhanced Health Protector Guard. About 2 weeks, a little more than 2 weeks ago, we made some changes to our Health Protector Guard plan. We know, and we heard from many agents, that it was very confusing having 12 different options when you go to quote and picking the right option, et cetera. So we have narrowed it down. We narrowed it down to 3 options, makes it much easier. And we enhanced the benefits. That's why it says enhance here. So we actually have some better benefits than we did before. I'm going to go over this plan in general. I'm going to give you a general overview. I'm going to send this presentation. I'm not sure if she already has it, but I'm going to send this presentation over to Carmen in case she wants to get it out to you, because quite honestly, I can't go through all the slides. There are more slides than what I'm going to go through this afternoon. It would just take way too much time, but there are some examples of exactly how this plan works in there, and you can study those once you receive the presentation. Okay. Um, Something very important, and I always say this usually at the beginning of the training, specifically for those of you that work in the Hispanic market, which I assume is probably most of you that are here today. We have always, well, not always, but for quite some time, we do not, let me rephrase that, we do not require a social security number for any of our plans. As a matter of fact, those of you that sell life insurance, our term life policy, which is a simple term life policy with simplified underwriting, we do not need a social security number for that one as well. Up until recently, we did. In most states, we now do not need a social security number for any of our plans, including our term life policy. And of course, that includes the plan we're looking at today, Enhanced Protector Guard, Health Protector Guard. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. And first of all, let's tell you what Health Protector Guard is not and what it is. This is a fixed indemnity plan. Again, you do not need a social security number to qualify here. Um, and there's a lot of people that will be looking for some alternatives, specifically now that we know that the subsidies will definitely be affected this year. Unfortunately, it's going to be a negative effect, not a positive effect. So this is going to be a fantastic alternative for a lot of your client base that's on ACA business that may no longer qualify for a subsidy or may end up having to pay too much on their end and want a solution. So listen closely, because this is probably going to be one of the better solutions out there for that market. So anyways, what it is not, ACA Health Protector Guard is not ACA compliant. Okay. It is not major medical coverage with the essential health benefits. So it does not meet the 10 essential health benefits to be considered ACA compliant. Your client, on the applications, there will be medical questions. The policy, it is a limited fixed indemnity policy. There is the opportunity or the chance that if your client has a serious pre-existing conditions, they may not get approved. Okay. So that can happen. It is similar to how policies were prior to the ACA existing, going back 11, 12 years ago. Okay. I did a lot of those individual policies. I was an agent for 25 years prior to working with United Healthcare. So I'm very familiar how those used to work. And this kind of looks similar to what that was. And it is not guaranteed issue. As I just mentioned, they will ask medical questions on the application. Now, what it is a fixed benefit coverage with no deductible. And when it says fixed benefit, it means we're going to pay a fixed dollar amount directly to the provider, being the doctor's office, hospital, outpatient facility, whatever it may be. We pay the provider directly as long as the client remains within the United Healthcare Choice Plus PPO network, which is a national network. And you're going to see some information on that in just a few slides. It is a huge network. It is a PPO. And what that means is that your client does not have to be tied to a primary care physician. They do not have to be um, assigned, I'm sorry, to a primary care physician. They have direct access to specialists. Nationwide, they have direct access to all services. Okay, so it is a national network. It's available all year round. We are not limited to open enrollment, to OEP. Okay. We actually have next day effective dates available for this program and every single one of our other plans. And the policy is renewable to age 65. So obviously, this is for the under 65 market. Okay. Fixed benefit. Why a fixed benefit medical plan? Well, some of the things I've already said. First of all, there's no deductible. There's also no coinsurance, no copays. All three of these, no deductible, no coinsurance, no copays. The reason for that is because we pay the provider directly the fixed dollar amount. Okay, so when you look at the benefits on this plan, when you look at the brochure, you're going to see dollar amounts. Now, those are not copayments. Those are basically the amount we're going to pay the provider directly. Okay, so I do get that question quite a bit. So just keep that in mind. Also, no waiting periods. We did have a waiting period to cover preventive for 30 days. With the enhanced plans, we do not have that anymore. And it is a nationwide network, and you're going to see a little bit more information on that shortly. Actually, here it is. Okay. So, why choose Health Protector Guard? Again, nationwide United Healthcare Choice Plus network. This is our biggest network, our biggest medical network. It's what we call the commercial network. Same one that we use for a lot of our group plans. It's the same one that they offer us, employees of United Healthcare. So it's the same one I have as well. It's a fantastic, fantastic network. We also give the members the Optum Perks prescription discount card. Besides what we cover in prescriptions for generic and brand name medications, that amount that we're going to pay directly to the pharmacy, depending on which option the client chooses to enroll with, they're also going to get the Optum Perks card, which is it's going to give them up to 80% discounts on certain medications. And clients will have access to telemedicine through Healthiest You by Teladoc. Zero co-payments, right? It's going to cost them zero, so they pay nothing for that, and it's unlimited, so they can use it as many times as they like. When someone needs to go to the doctor and it's not something very serious, many times they prefer to do the telemedicine and not take those 2, 3, 4, 5 hours out of your day to drive back and forth to the doctor's office, etc. So it can be very convenient. Now, we do cover a lot of benefits. I'm not going to go through these in detail because we unfortunately just don't have the time to do that. I'm going to give you a couple highlights here. This is our hospital service benefits. One thing I do want to point out, we have the three plans. These are the three plans that we have available now. These are the ones you're going to see when we go in and we do a quote and an enrollment a little bit later. Select 2000, preferred 4000, premier 5000. This is going to be the most competitive premium. This is going to be the plan with the best benefits. A couple things that I want to point out here is, for example, this plan here for hospital confinement due to illness or injury, as it says there, is going to pay the provider, the hospital, directly $2,000 per day, up to $5,000 per day, depending on which plan the client takes. That is unlimited. They're there for 1 day, 10 days, 100 days. 2,000 or 5,000 per day every single day they're in there. Something very important is that when this policy renews starting second policy year, that benefit duplicates. It goes to 4,000, 8,000, and 10,000, depending on which plan the client has. Okay. So that's something very important. Why do we do that? Because we believe retention, I'll probably mention this several times, is extremely important. This program is meant as a long term policy. This is not a short term medical plan, even though we do have those. Um, and along with this option, there are several other benefits that will increase starting year two. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and continue. Of course, there's a lot more information in here. I do suggest that you study the brochures. All this information is in the brochure, and I will be sending this presentation over to Carmen after we finish this afternoon. So hopefully she can get that out to you guys and you'll have it as well, or you'll have access to it um, through the Sunshine portal. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue. We also cover surgical. Did I skip something here? No. Okay, right. Surgical benefits. We will cover surgery in some instances up to $50,000, again, depending on which plan the client takes. Okay, here's some information on that. How surgical tiers are determined, that's in here as well. Okay, we're not going to go through this in detail. I'm just giving you an idea of everything it covers. So for a limited plan, there are a lot of benefits. Wellness benefits. Remember, this is what had the 30-day waiting period prior. No 30-day waiting period anymore. So this gives you an idea of what we cover as far as wellness benefits. Office, therapy, and RX benefits are here. One of the other benefits that's going to increase year two is right here, office visits. Depending on which plan you have, you're going to get anywhere between 4 to 6 visits a year, year one. That goes up by 2 starting year two. 6 visits all the way to 12 visits, again, depending on which option you take. Okay, so just keep that in mind. There are a few other benefits that do increase as well. Additional information. Again, this program is available for the under 65 market. As most of you know, there's big changes coming with ACA. Take advantage of this plan. You know, you probably have a good number of clients that are going to be great candidates for this. Remember, we don't need a social security number. So if someone does not have a social security number, they can apply for this program or any one of our other plans, okay? Or several of them at the same time on the same application. I'll show you how to do that a little bit later. Policy will renew to age 65. The limits on the policy, $2 million calendar year, meaning if United Healthcare pays in benefit, not in benefit, in claims, $2 million during that year, that's the maximum they'll pay, and $5 million for the life of the policy. Okay. Again, as I mentioned earlier, this is similar to what policies were or what plans were prior to the ACA existing. Prior to that, all plans had limitations and they were much lower than these. I think it was 1 million and 2 million or something like that, if I can remember correctly. I sold a lot of individual insurance, medical insurance back then. I never had a client reach the maximum. So don't let these numbers scare you and don't let that keep you from selling these plans or presenting them to your clients. Benefits are subject to pre-existing conditions. So yes, there are certain pre-existing conditions, not major ones, but certain pre-existing conditions a person may have where we will accept them. However, we will apply a 12-month waiting period to cover any claim affiliated with that medical condition. So after 12 months, we cover everything. So there is a 12-month waiting period for pre-existing conditions if the person is accepted or approved with those conditions. Okay. There's a 10-day free look period. So if your client decides for whatever reason that they don't want the policy within the first 10 days, you know, they're going to get their premium back. Rates are per person. Okay. So each person on here, primary, spouse, children, whatever it may be, will have a separate rate depending on the state. Sometimes they may, you know, it'll also be rated by gender. sometimes tobacco status. I don't think Florida or Texas have that, and attained age. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue. And here it is, a nationwide network. Again, we utilize the United Healthcare Choice Plus network. It is a PPO network. So again, your client does not need to be assigned to a primary care physician. They have direct access to specialists nationwide. And it being a PPO means that they also have out of network benefits. We recommend they stay in network. They're always going to pay less money out of their pocket, but we do have out of network benefits as well. We have over 1.8 million providers, over 7,000 hospitals nationwide, and on average, for those contracted United Healthcare Choice Plus providers, on average, 58% discount of what the client would pay um, for a non-contracted provider. Okay, so it's obviously in the client's best interest to stay within the network. This is the member hub. I highly suggest that you give every client this right here, this link, uhcmemberhub.com. As a matter of fact, once they are accepted for this program and just about all the other ones, we actually, on that welcome email, include a registration button so they can register for the member hub. It is in the best interest of the member. It is definitely in your best interest as an agent that they register. Why? Because they can do a lot of things there. They can make payments. They can actually change their mode of premium. Something very important, and I'll probably repeat this several times, specifically when I show you guys the bonuses at the end. It is extremely important that your clients pay through their bank account. The reason I say that is because your retention, your persistency of policies is much, much higher when they pay through a bank account than when they pay through a credit card. As a matter of fact, we looked at our policies with United Health One, those policies that were paid um, with EFT, electronic fund transfer through the bank account, compared to credit cards. After 2 years, the persistency of those that are paid through the bank account, that EFT, the electronic fund transfer, was 78% higher than those paid with credit cards. Okay, so if you're trying to build that residual income that's going to grow year after year after year, the only way you can do that is if you have good retention. If you have poor retention, you're always going to be making a sale to make up for one that you lost. So it's extremely important that you focus on retention. One of the best ways to do that, among others, is having the client pay through their bank account. Okay. What else can they do here at the Member Hub? Update their address, view documents, ID cards, find a provider. That's always important, right? You can also look at providers when you're quoting. Okay, I'll show you that in a few minutes. Manage and submit claims. This is important. Um, we have a lot of our programs where they do have to submit a claim to get reimbursed or to get paid out their benefits, so they can do that right online. Okay, this is how to submit claims. Okay, if you go to an in-network provider, United Healthcare Choice Plus provider. Client just has to show their ID card. The provider will submit the claim directly to United Healthcare. Benefits, as I mentioned, that flat dollar amount per service will be paid directly to the provider. Now, the key here is that we're always going to pay the full benefit. If the benefit is more than what is owed, the remainder will be sent to the member via a check. And if it is less than what is owed, the member would be responsible for the remainder due. Let me give you an example of that. Let's use a doctor's office visit. Let's say the benefit that we're going to pay, that flat dollar amount, is $100 per visit. If that visit cost $80 because they were in network and that's what it cost, we're going to pay the provider $80, right? And there's a $20 credit that remains. Those additional $20 are going to be paid to the client. Same example. If that again, you have the $100 benefit. If that office visit costs $120, we're going to pay $100 directly to the provider, and then there's a balance of $20 that will be paid directly to the client or the member via a check, right? We'll send them a check for that. I'm sorry. No, my bad. Got a little confused there. If it's $100 benefit and that visit cost 120, there's a $20 balance the member is responsible for. Okay. So it could go either way. There are examples in this presentation that will show you exactly that and give you more detailed examples showing hospital stays, etc. I'm not going to go through those in detail today, but you will have that information in this presentation when it's sent out to you, okay, or when you request it. If your if your client goes to a non-network provider, there really shouldn't be a reason to do that. But if they do, then the client has to pay whatever the cost for that non-network provider will be for the services. After that, they're going to submit a claim through my UHC or uhcmemberhub.com, right? The agent portal. And they will be paid 100% of whatever the benefit is directly to them. Okay, that's only if they go out of network. Potential customers. There are two that don't appear here, but let's just go through this list. So who are potential customers for this plan? Number one, self-employed or gig workers. These are people that work on their own and don't have benefits offered to them. They may make their income may be higher than what it needs to be to qualify for a subsidy through the ACA. So they are great potential clients. Those people that have high deductibles and are seeking help with out-of-pocket costs with their existing plan. So yes, this plan can also be sold as a supplement to major medical coverage, whether it be direct with the carrier or through the ACA. So someone that has a high deductible, high out-of-pocket expenses and wants to use this plan as a supplement, they can. However, this is my suggestion from experience when I was an agent. If they have a medical plan and they purchase the Health Protector plan as a supplemental plan, when they seek medical services, I would suggest that they only show their major medical carrier ID card or their ACA coverage ID card. Why? Because if they show both ID cards, the coordination of benefits is a nightmare. Your client's not going to be happy. You're not going to be happy. That provider's office is not going to be happy because it can lead to a lot of confusion. I suggest if they're using it again as a supplement to their current ACA coverage or other major medical, have them only present the ACA coverage ID card or that major medical ID card when they go to the doctor's office, hospital, whatever it may be. Afterwards, I would recommend they file the claim directly at the uhcmemberhub.com, and they will get paid 100% of the benefit that they have through Health Protector Guard. If they are using the plan as their Health Protector Guard as their primary insurance, then yes, of course, just show that ID card. Okay, I just give you that suggestion because it's going to save you a lot of headaches. Okay. Also, people that are concerned about surprise medical bills, great candidates for this. You know, every now and then someone gets a ridiculous bill in the mail they had no idea they were responsible for. Have out-of-network costs for primary insurance. Again, we have the out-of-network benefits here. There are two that don't appear on this list. Number one, those that do not have a social security number are fantastic clients for this. Of course, they have to be in relatively good health. And those that will now be affected by the subsidy reductions that are coming through ACA coverage, where they're going to have to pay more than they did before. Some people may not even qualify for a subsidy anymore. They're going to be great candidates as well. Don't wait. Start promoting this plan now. because when OEP rolls around, and I know we're only in July, but time before you know it, it'll be here, and you need to study this plan. So if it is an alternative for your clients, you're able to offer it to them, and know exactly how it works and what the best option for them will be. Okay. Okay, that's it for this portion. We're going to go into the client, not the client, the agent portal now. Let's go ahead and escape here. All right, you should be seeing the portal. This, for those of you that are contracted, hopefully everybody that's on this training is already contracted. If you are not, you need to contact Sunshine Life and Health Contracting Department, or I believe maybe even Carmen. She can send out the contracting link to you so that you can get contracted. Okay, obviously you can't sell these programs until you're contracted. Okay, so if that's the case, do it as soon as possible. Those of you that are contracted have probably been in here. If you've sold policies, obviously you've been in the agent portal. How do you get there? There it is. It's kind of small up there, but it says uh, uh1.com/broker. That'll take you to where you need to put in your credentials to log in. This, as you can see, has several different tabs. If you need to get a quote, it's pretty obvious. You can click there. You can also get in there through instant quote. I'll go through a couple of these tabs and give you some highlights. Under my business, you have a prospect list. This is an extremely powerful tool to have in here. Why? Prospect list is a list of clients you have quoted and maybe emailed quotes to them. They haven't enrolled yet, they haven't started the application, or they started the application, never finished it. Do not let those sales go by the wayside. Follow up with them. You have spent a lot of time and effort and explained the plans to them, possibly in detail, and taken, again, a lot of time with them so that those sales fall through the cracks. Don't let that happen. That's why we put the prospect list here so you can follow up, close those sales. There's a lot of commissions to be made. There's a lot of bonuses to be made. And most importantly, you meet that client's needs. Okay. My business summary, that is your list of clients with policy numbers and much more. And also, if there is a policy that is pending, it can give you the status of that policy. I believe you can look that up in there as well. Under licensing and commissions, you can check your commission statements right there. Pretty standard, right? Pretty forward. And if you want to know what states you currently have appointments in through UH1 or where you can sell our products, you can check here. You can also add new states. If you have a non-resident license, you want to get appointed in that state with us, you can do that right here. All right, view and add your appointments. Under my account, you're going to find mostly bonus information or incentives, right? So I'm going to go over the current incentives in a little while. Over here, like I think here you can track where you're at for certain bonuses as far as your app count, etc. So this is a very good tool to have in there. This section here is very important: brochures, sales tools, and training. Where do I find the brochures? Well, here it is, brochures and sales tools. You just click here. And then depending on which state you're in, Florida, we are we have products that can be sold in 49 different states. Most states will have the majority of our plans available. So I'm going to pick Florida. I think most of you here in this training are in Florida. As soon as you do that, all of our brochures show up. You will find them in English and Spanish. Okay. Most states will have them in English and Spanish. Besides the brochures, here's the one. Where is it? Here it is. Here's the one we just went over: Enhanced Protector Guard brochure. Okay. Here it is in Spanish. Where is it? Here it is in Spanish. Okay. Now there are some others that are called Health Protector Guard /Guard plans. Okay. Those guard plans are a little different. I'll go over a little bit of that information in a few minutes when we go into quote. But those are very good options for those people that have a more limited budget. Okay. If you keep scrolling down, you've got other information here. You got some flyers. We're going to have some of these flyers, product flyers in Spanish in here soon, is what I've been told. You got sample applications. You got sample application questions. So if you want to know what questions they're going to ask your client with the Health Protector Guard, here it is, sample application questions for hospital and doctor, right there. You might want to pre-qualify the client, or you want to make sure that they are in relatively good health before you offer or talk to them about this plan, specifically before they apply, because the last thing you want is for them not to get approved, and then nobody's going to be happy, right? So here, this will give you a very good idea of what they're going to be asked, okay? If you keep scrolling down, you have more information here. If you are, this is very important. I know some of you, I think most of you, or the vast majority of agents are already set up for direct deposit on commissions. If you are not, if you are receiving a check, something that you need to know, yes, we will send you a check. However, and this is not me, this is company policy now, the checks are not released until there is at least $500 of commissions, okay, to be paid out. That's if they're mailing a check. If you have direct deposit, we pay every week. And I think you have to have, I think it's $25 in commissions for us to pay out. So if you don't have direct deposit, I highly suggest that you complete this form and get that done. Okay. So aside from that, you have other information here. If I scroll back up, you want to narrow this down to just accident plans or any other type of coverage, you just hit this and it just brings up the information you want there. Under this same section, we have another very powerful tool that you can utilize to generate business. It's a quoting link. You can create your own quoting link that you can email, text, or even send it out through social media, or even post it on your website if you have a website, where a potential client can go in there, quote themselves, enroll themselves, and of course, you're going to get credit for that. Use it. Even if you don't have a website, you can create this. And I've seen a lot of agents do it with a WhatsApp address. It's not difficult to do, and you might as well use it. It's there for you, and it is a very powerful tool. Aside from that, we have webinars on demand. I'm going to go in here very quick. These are webinars on our products. They explain them in detail. Okay, all of them are here. The one we're going over right now is Enhanced Protector Guard. Okay. So these are range anywhere from 6 minutes all the way. I think the longest one is 30 minutes. It's going to go over the product, going to go over the benefits. It's very, very good, very useful, and it helps you to really learn these products. Okay, aside from the brochures and everything else. Let's go back over here, quoting and applications. We're going to go into instant quote because, of course, we're going to do a sample quote and an enrollment. I am going to put a zip code here in Florida. One thing that I do want to show you is that once you put the zip code in, you're going to get a little button up here that shows up and it says Espanol. If you want to do this process in Spanish, if it's easier for your client in Spanish, all you do is click here. And from this moment forward, everything, quoting, application, everything will be in Spanish. Okay. We're going to continue in English because obviously this is an English training. So let's say we have a male, age 40. That's our sample prospect. If they have dependents, is pretty straightforward. You put that information in here. Need to add a child, you do that. As soon as you start scrolling down, you're going to start seeing our plans. The first thing you see here is short-term medical plans. Yes, we have short-term medical plans. We've always, United Health One has always had short-term medical plans. However, as of September 1st of 2024, there was an executive order that affects all short-term medical plans, not just United Healthcare, every single insurance company that offers them, where those plans can have a maximum coverage of 3 months and be renewed for one more month, 4 months max. So that's why it's so important to know these other options, these alternatives, which is enhanced health protector guard. This is what we went through today. There are three options. Now, this looks a little confusing because you're seeing six options. The three options for health protector guard are the bottom ones, the three bottom ones. This will be updated and you'll see that there'll just be three, and the other three up here will be on a separate section. Okay, it's going to be easier. But as of right now, you want to look at these three at the bottom. Okay. The ones that appear on top are the guard plans. That's why it says guard, 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 right? These are going to be less expensive. These are going to have less coverage, but they are a solution for those clients that may have a more limited budget. I'm going to go ahead and quote the most competitive plan here. I'm also going to quote the most expensive, or the one with the best benefits, better said, right? I'm also going to quote this one here so you can see the difference. This is the least expensive plan of the guard plans. So if you do have that person with a more limited budget, this may be the solution for them. You're not going to lose that sale. Okay. Obviously, we have dental plans. We've done these trainings in the past. Okay. You will see that when we go into the application, the client will have the option to add a dental plan on there once you start that application. Accident, we do have accident plans. I'm going to go ahead and quote two of these. Okay. As you well know, an accident can happen to anyone. I highly suggest that you always quote an accident policy and show the client the benefits of having an accident policy. Okay, we're not going to go through these benefits in detail. I'll talk a little bit more when we get to the next screen, but quote it. Critical illness, critical guard. This is another policy or another option that I think you should always quote for your client. Why? Because the vast majority are going to have a need for it. Why would they have a need for it? Because unfortunately, most people have a family history of either cancer, heart and stroke, or other critical conditions somewhere in their family history. And those are genetic um, conditions that may affect that person. The idea here is that they will have a lump sum payment paid out to them. God forbid they get a diagnosis for cancer or whatever it may be, of up to $100,000, depending on what option they choose. And they can use that money to cover their needs if they can't work for a while, if they're under treatment, or they had a heart attack and can't work for 2 months after getting out of the hospital, etc. This policy is vitally important, and it meets most of your clients' needs. Okay. And you're going to see how inexpensive it can be. Okay. So I'm going to quote that. We have other options available. Term life. They also get an option to add this on when they're doing the application. You'll see it in just a few minutes. Hospital safeguard plans, hospital wise. This is another training I think we did. I don't remember. I think it was last time we did a training. We did it. It was on hospital wise. So you have that one available for you. We have some other benefits here, which were our non-insurance benefits. Okay, we're not going to go through through those today. Let's go ahead and view what we picked. Give the system a minute here. Hopefully not too long. Here we go. So here you're going to see the plans that we picked. Okay, these two are the Health Protector Guard plans I picked. This is the most competitive for that 40-year-old male. I'm gonna go in here in just a minute so you can see all the benefits, etc. But I want you to see the difference between Health Protector Guard Select, which is a least expensive Health Protector Guard plan with very good benefits, and the Health Protector Guard plan. Kind of little tongue twister there. Guard plan 4000. This is the least expensive of the guard plans, and it's going to have less benefits than this, right? but it is a solution for someone that needs medical coverage for doctor visits, hospital, and a few other things, um, and is on a limited budget. I mean, it's literally less than half of what this cost. But this is what's going to probably sell the most. And you're going to have those clients that have bigger needs, and they're going to need this one, right? So what does this Health Protector Guard Select 2000 cover? You can look in the brochure, or you can actually go here, view and edit. Um, Notice something that we have a next day effective date here. If you need to change this, of course, you can always change the date for a future date. But most of the time, the client wants a next day effective date. Specifically, they have no other coverage. You can do that with all of our policies. This policy specifically, let's look at some of the benefits here. If you need to look at doctors, you need to see if your client's provider is available, right? If they're in network, you can do that right here. United Healthcare Choice Plus. You want to see what hospitals are in here, you can do that right here. It even has, when you go in here, I'm not going to do that now, it even has a little section where you can do a cost estimate, which will give you some averages on what certain services may cost based on the provider. Okay, that's also available right here as well. But this plan here, this is just telling you what plan it has. We will guarantee rates for 12 months. Policy rates can increase starting year two. That can happen. Okay, so we do guarantee it for 12 months like any other policy. Speaking of renewals, to renew this policy is extremely simple. It is nothing like the ACA. Remember, we don't need any income information, no financial documents, none of that stuff. Matter of fact, we don't need any documents at all for this, and we don't need a social security number. But to renew this policy is simple. We send a letter to the client, let them know, hey, your policy is renewing on uh, July 10th, 2026, right? A year down the line. And your new rate will be such. It may change, it may not. Client doesn't have to do anything. All they have to do is we're going to go in and do that first draft after it renews. That's it. Policy's renewed. Of course, you remain as the agent on that. Okay. As far as wellness, I'm not going to go through this in detail. This is going to tell you what they're going to cover for wellness. Office visits, what we're going to cover for office visits, including urgent care visits and then some. Okay. Prescription drugs. So for a limited policy, it does cover quite a bit. Prescription drugs, here you go. This is what we're paying. These numbers you see in here are very important. That's what we pay the provider. Those are not co-payments, okay? Inpatient services, emergency room, hospital, etc. Everything is here. Lab, outpatient services, and surgical benefits. There's quite a bit here. And non-insurance benefits. Telemedicine and the Optum Perks card. So we're going to go ahead and go back. We're going to add this to the card. Looking at the time just to make sure we're good on time here. Okay. This program here will be very similar, but it'll include some additional benefits, and the benefit amount will be much higher. Okay. That's why this policy costs more. It is much higher coverage. So you will have clients that may have a need for that. Okay. I'm not going to go here in detail because we already know how it works, and we don't have time to do that right now. Accident. I quoted 2 accident plans. What you need to know about accident besides hospital, besides emergency room, besides urgent care, surgery, diagnostic tests, all due to accidents. It also covers an accidental death and dismemberment benefit. In this case, it's 15,000. In this case, it's 10,000. Okay. Your client will always have a need for an accident policy. Accident can happen to anyone. I usually start with this option here. If he or she says, hey, listen, I'm already applying for the other plan, I'm kind of tight as far as my budget, but I definitely want the accident plan, then this would be the solution. This is literally, well, it's approximately 50 cents a day. And you can tell the client that, hey, listen, for approximately 50 cents a day, $10,000 if you're hospitalized due to an accident, $10,000 benefit if you die in an accident to your beneficiary. Okay, so let's go ahead and add this to the cart. Lastly, and I'm trying to go a little quick here because I want to make sure we have enough time to finish. Is your critical guard critical illnesses policy? Let's look at the details. First of all, look at the premium. Very competitive. This is the lower premium, right? I mean, this is the lower benefit. I'll show you how you can change that in just a second. But something very important, this is going to cover cancer, heart disease, and other um, critical illnesses, including Alzheimer's, right? We're going to pay a benefit here if there's a diagnosis. That's 5,000. Here, if there is a heart attack or whatever it may be, that's another 5,000. And here, if there's a diagnosis for one of those critical illnesses that are covered, another 5,000. This policy can pay out up to $15,000. We do pay per category. Very important. Your client will more than likely say, I definitely need this after you explain. Ask them if there's a family history of any of these conditions and show them the need for it. But he or she may say, you know what, I need higher benefits. $5,000 just isn't enough. And I agree. You can do it up to $100,000. Okay, for a guarantee issue, no medical questions. We can do up to 10,000. If I switch this to 10,000, still less than $9 a month. All right. I think we've got everything we need for our cart. Let's go back. Let's add this one to cart. Now we're going to continue to the shopping cart. As I had mentioned, your client or you have the option now to go, hey, would you be interested in a dental plan? Dental Wise Max policy that covers dental, vision, and hearing, by the way. Vision or a term policy. For less than $8 a month, you're going to get $25,000 of benefit. Premium guaranteed for 10 years. It's a 10-year term. Again, this is for a 40-year-old male. These rates may vary based on age. So, but importantly here, what you can tell your client is if they choose any one of these, fantastic. But going back here, you're going to tell them you're applying for 3 policies. However, we're going to offer you more coverage than just 3 coverages. I'll show you that in just a second. 3 policies, everything's going to be done on one application. Let's look at your coverages. Number 1, you got your medical coverage right here. Coverage number 1, you got accident wise. Remember I said this covers accidents and it also has the accidental death and dismemberment benefit. So it's an additional coverage. That's 2. So we're already at 3 coverages. And the last one, critical guard, critical illness, cancer, heart and stroke, other critical illnesses. 3 more. You're literally giving them 6 coverages, 3 policies, 6 coverages, 1 application. Very, very simple. And this is your total premium. So you show them, make sure you show them the value of everything you're giving them. Let's go ahead and start the broker assisted application. You have 2 ways of doing this. I think we're going to have time to finish. You have the traditional way where you're going to email or text it, and then you're going to hear more than likely sometimes I didn't get the email. I can't find the email. I didn't get a text, etc. All that goes away when you use this. Assisted application security questions. 2 security questions will suffice as the client's signature. Okay, don't have to email it or text it for e-signature anymore. This is what I suggest. Makes your life much easier, gives you a lot more control as an agent, and you're guaranteeing yourself that the application will be completed and submitted. Instead of having to wait for that client to sign it electronically, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, sometimes they take a week. Sometimes when you call them back to follow up, they said, no, I don't need it anymore. This is going to give you a lot more control to finish that sale and make sure everything gets submitted. Let's go ahead and continue. Here you're going to tell the client those 2 security questions will suffice as your signature. Do you agree? Yes. Excellent. Okay, here we're getting into the application. You have some of my information here. Well, I'm just using myself as the example. Why are they asking for height and weight? Very simple, because they're going to ask the medical questions on the health protector guard portion, the fixed indemnity portion. You're going to see that in just a minute. We have to put in an address. Okay, that's it there. Notice they didn't ask for a social security number. We don't need it. We don't even ask for it. Okay. However, make sure you add the beneficiary in for your client. We're not going to do it now due to time constraints. Let's continue. Okay, this is a section fixed indemnity. This is your health protector guard questions. Okay. I'm going to answer no to all of them. Not going to go over every single question because we just don't have the time to do it, but I suggest you definitely do that. When you are taking an application with your client, make sure they answer correctly. The last thing you want is for a large claim not to get covered because they answered no to a question they should have answered yes to, and it might have been a condition we may not have accepted the person. So you want to tell them to answer correctly to avoid any future issues. Okay, let's go ahead and continue. Oh, forgot one. Continue. Okay, this is critical guard. You have two questions. Very simple. Is there another policy for over $75,000 with critical illness with another carrier that will not terminate prior to this one? No. Are you replacing anything? No. Next. Accident. One question. Is there another accident policy that will not terminate prior to this one being effective? No. Continue. Okay. Here we go. We can edit details now. You can do that for all the coverages. We're going to go ahead and continue. We're almost done with the application, by the way. Electronic funds transfer. Remember, always, always, always try to get your client to pay through their bank account. It is in the client's best interest, it is in your best interest, and it is in our best interest because we're going to have much better retention of policies on average. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue. This is the second to last screen. We're going to send the application to the client by email. They do not have to sign it, just for them to have a copy. This is the last screen. Review, sign, and submit. You want to review the application, you can do that here. If your client wants everything electronically, documents, there you go. These two questions here are the security questions. You pick one of five. High school mascot. Okay. And father's middle name. Now, make sure your client remembers the question and the answer. They call customer service and they can't answer that. They're not going to talk to them. This is your client's signature. That's it. You click here, you just signed as the agent. One more click, you submitted the application. Everything's going to be processed. All three policies, 6 coverages, all done on this one application as you saw, and it'll be effective tomorrow. Okay, because it's a next day effective date. That's how easy it is to quote and enroll. Lastly, with these last 2 or 3 minutes I have here, let's go over bonuses. Yes, this is your favorite part. Bonuses are available 3 ways. We have 3 different bonus plans. You as an agent will qualify for one of the 3. Okay, it's very important. If you were contracted prior, United Health One, contracted prior to April 1st of 2025, April 1st of this year, and have not written any United Health One policies in the last 2 years, you're going to qualify for the $7,500 bonus. I mean, you have to sell, of course, to qualify, but you can make up to $7,500 in bonus in addition to your commissions. How does it work? Well, first of all, you have to the 31st of December to do that. You basically have 6 months. That's a lot of time. Okay. Policies do have to remain effective for 90 days, 3 months. That's standard pretty much with any bonus plan for them to count. The big kicker here also is EFT. You want to maximize your bonuses, make sure your client pays through their banking account. Health Protector Guard. This is what we covered today. You do 5 applications, you're going to get $1,000 bonus. You do 15 applications. It's not difficult to do, especially with the changes coming in the ACA. You're going to have a lot of potential clients. $6,000, 15 apps. In addition to that, if you do ancillary policies, critical illness, accident, dental, hospital-wise, etc. There you go. 15 apps, $1,500. Total, $7,500. Again, this is if you're contracted prior to April 1st of this year and have not written any UH1 business in the last 2 years. If you are a new agent and contracted after April 1st of this year, okay, you have 120 days. This one's a little, it's same bonus, but it's a little different parameters. 120 days to qualify from your contract date. So if your contract date starts today, you have 120 days to qualify. If it started June 1st, you have 120 days from June 1st to qualify for this bonus. Same thing, policies have to remain in force for 90 days to count. And of course, EFT is going to help you maximize these bonuses. And it's exactly the same. Okay, so if you are a new agent that contracted after April 1st of 2025, this is going to apply to you. And lastly, journey to success. Those agents that have been producing with us, we're not forgetting about you, obviously. We just have a different bonus for you. This is our journey to success. This is us put together a little differently. You need to have at least 20 eligible Golden Rule Insurance product applications, right? And it's per product, not necessarily per application. So you can have a combination of all these. You could do 5 dental-wise policies, 5 critical illness policies, 5 accident-wise policies, etc. Once you get to 20, it goes retroactive to the first policy, meaning we're going to pay you retroactive for all 20 of those plus everything over 20. EFT, extremely important. There it is. You have to have your clients pay through EFT to basically get paid on all of these. The only one that's going to pay you for non-EFT, excuse me, let's go ahead and not do this now. The only one that's not going to pay you for non-EFT payments is going to be Health Protector Guard and only pays you half. So if you do the math, you do 20 applications, Health Protector Guard, multiply that by 150 plus your commissions. If you do 30 applications, etc., you can make some very good money. Okay, those are the benefits, not the benefits. Those are the bonuses. So as an agent, you're going to qualify for one of the three. Okay, so hopefully that was clear. I know it's a lot of information. I think Carmen has these and has sent it out to you guys. Carmen, I have covered everything I wanted to cover. I have not checked to see if there's any questions, or maybe we kind of ran over a little. Well, not really. We're under an hour because we started at 2:05.
Yeah.
But mhm,
I don't see. There was one question. They was
okay,
asking if the person have a Medicaid, if they can apply for this plan also. I was suggesting not to do it because if you
correct.
have money to do this, Medicaid is gonna drop the benefits.
That's correct. Yes, I
Yeah,
would never, never sell a supplemental plan of any type to a person that has Medicaid because it's exactly what
it's gonna
Carmen said.
affect it.
You're going to lose your Medicaid,
Right.
which is going to be worse. So yeah, definitely don't do that. Yeah,
And
I'm glad they asked that question.
another question that have nothing to do with the training, but
Hmm.
it's something that the agent have curiosity. We already submit an email to everybody about the opportunity to make your policy from SureBridge to become a UH1 policy.
Yes, correct.
And they asking if the dental advision is a mandatory to do it. Nothing is mandatory. Correct, George?
Correct. It's not mandatory that you switch it, but what has happened over the last 6 months is and I get this a lot. Hey, my client wants to increase their benefit. And yes, you can, but then you'd have to cancel your policy and wait 60 days. So what we're doing for those SureBridge policies is you can now switch it over to a UH1 policy, increase the benefit. Two things that are very important. Number one, I mean, you do have a lot of time to do this. I think it's through March of 2026. So you do have quite some time to do it. But you have to realize, and you have to read that brochure in detail. This is not considered a new sale, meaning that you're going to make first year commission. It will pay the renewal commission on that. Okay. But it is a great opportunity to go back to those clients, talk to them, ask them questions, see if you can meet some more of their needs and cross sell. Hey, we're going to increase your accident policy from 10,000 to 20,000. By the way, is there a history? Can I ask you a question? Is there a history of cancer, heart and stroke, or any other critical conditions in your family? That's the door opener to offer them critical illness. One example. So it's a great opportunity for you to go back and cross sell and, of course, increase their benefit amount. So that is available to you, and you don't have to wait the 60 days. The only exception to that is vision. I think vision, you still have that waiting period, and the vision waiting period is much longer. So if it's a vision policy, I would just suggest that you keep it where it is for now. Okay, everything else can be switched over if you wish to do so. You don't have to. We will continue to pay commissions, and they will continue to be insured either way. Okay, so that was actually a good question. Not to do anything with our training, but it was a good question. Okay, is there anything else, Carmen, or do we
No,
take like
George,
a two
so
minute break?
fast. No, no, no. So far,
Okay.
that was it. I have, oh, good afternoon. Will this cover fertility treatment?
No,
No.
no. There is very few policies, even major medical policies that cover fertility treatment. So no, this does not cover fertility treatment. No, fertility treatment is very
No,
expensive.
I think that's it. I have 50 people waiting in the waiting room to the Spanish training.
Oh,
So
excellent.
thank you very much to all of you guys. I'll see you in 2 weeks. We're gonna have in 2 weeks. We're gonna have what are we gonna have in 2 weeks, George? We're gonna
I'm
have a
not really sure.
combination. I think we're gonna have a combination
I think we
of
have accident and critical illness. I think.
yes, that's what we're
Yes.
gonna have on the 23rd.
Hmm.
So thank you guys. See you soon.
Thank you. And Carmen, let's take like a
Yeah, let's take
2 minute
like
break.
5 minutes break. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna open for everybody that is waiting, and
Perfect.
then we come back in 5 minutes.
Perfect. Thank you, Carmen. You
Thank
guys
you,
have a great
everyone.
afternoon. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Bye bye.